Well, hello everybody. Here's your update on the canoe project that we started this weekend. The first thing we discovered was it wasn't going to happen this weekend. Actually, there are 3 break points in the process that we're using where you have to let the epoxy resin dry and completely harden and cure before you can move on to the next step. So the first thing is to splice together these panels from the 8-foot sheets of plywood so that we have 16-foot sides for this canoe, as well as a 16-foot bottom. And then you can't do anything further until that epoxy cures. So that was where we were on Saturday, and unhappily, when we went to check it out on Sunday morning, the bottom, the floor of the boat is great. The sides broke apart. And this is what we learned. Here, I'll turn this around. First, you'll see that there is, in fact, still a lake out here. We are by the waterside. Great place to build a canoe. Now, what we found out was when we put this butt block down, we just put the epoxy on the side panels and then put the dry splice panel in its place, okay? We thought that would be fine. We weighted everything properly and let it dry. But when we picked it up the next day, that joint just broke, snapped off. And in fact, there wasn't any residue of the epoxy on the inside of the butt block. It was just, it was like a dry piece of plywood with a little fringe of epoxy around the edges, and certainly was not going to hold any weight. And that's part of the problem, because we're going to be bending this panel. This is going to be the curved side of the canoe. So what we did yesterday was we reapplied the epoxy onto the side panels, and then we put a coat of epoxy on the butt block itself. And then that is how we formed the joint, which we have this morning, which looks good, and it's flexible, and it's going to stand the stress. Even though it's a fairly small stress, it will stand the strain of being bent around the curved floor. So we're going to do that today. We're going to start trying to get this thing into some sort of shape, and we'll be talking more about this as we go on. So y'all take care, and we'll see you shortly.